Welcome back, beautiful, beloved souls. My name is Gem Stone. I'm a psychic medium and I am an author. On this channel, you find I mainly do commentaries. I look at anything and everything to do with life and death through a lens. My particular fascination is consciousness. So, on this commentary, we're going even deeper than what is consciousness. We're looking at what can consciousness know about itself while trapped inside a single point of view. Okay, let's begin with a thought experiment. Imagine this. At this exact moment, there are over 8 billion human beings alive. Every one of them has an inner world. Every one of them is seeing reality from behind a different pair of eyes. Every one of them has memories that nobody else possesses. Every one of them experiences joy differently, fear differently, pain differently, love differently. Now here is the strange part. You will never experience any of it. You can spend your entire life beside another person. You can love them completely. You can understand them deeply. Yet, you will never see the world exactly as they do. You cannot borrow their consciousness for even 1 second. Likewise, nobody has ever experienced being you. Not your thoughts, not your dreams, not your grief, not your memories, not your consciousness. So, what exactly is this thing we call I? Is it something created by the brain? Or is it consciousness looking through billions of different windows, one at a time? Humans think we are conscious because we compare ourselves to animals. But what if consciousness isn't a ladder? What if it's an ocean? We've drawn an imaginary ladder. We have rock, leads to single cell, leads to plant, leads to fish, leads to dog, leads to chimpanzee, leads to human. Humans conveniently put themselves at the top. But evolution doesn't actually have a top. Evolution has adaptation. An eagle experiences ultraviolet. A bee sees flowers we cannot. A bat maps the world with sound. A shark senses electricity. Migrating birds appear to sense Earth's magnetic field. Dogs smell diseases. Each lives inside a reality unavailable to us. Who then is more conscious, or simply conscious differently? Now, this is my philosophical belief that reality, I feel, is from the inner world. People think reality is out there, but neuroscience suggests something remarkable. Light never enters your consciousness. Sound never enters consciousness. Colour doesn't exist inside the skull. Your brain never touches the outside world. Instead, photons strike the retina. Electrical signals travel. The brain constructs a model. You don't experience reality. You experience your brain's best guess. That doesn't necessarily mean reality is fake, but it does mean your experience of reality is constructed. This is one reason optical illusions work. The brain fills in gaps, sometimes incorrectly. Now, I've got a Bachelor of Arts, I've got postgraduate degrees, but one of my majors was sociology. So from sociology, I have published a book called The Social World. Okay, and I believe that society tells us what is normal, but normal is often just agreement. A person who's labelled deviant may simply interpret reality differently. Every human builds meaning from experience. Two people witness exactly the same event. One feels joy. Another feels trauma. Neither experience is fake. Both are real to the consciousness experiencing them. Reality isn't only what happens. Reality is how consciousness interprets what happens. That is a wonderful distinction. Now, let's talk about drugs. Not simply addiction, reality. Psychedelics, cannabis, alcohol, ketamine, even prescription medications, anesthesia, so anesthetics. They all alter consciousness, which creates an interesting question. If chemicals can completely alter reality, what exactly is reality? If a person sees colours that weren't there, were they hallucinating or accessing neural pathways normally filtered? Science generally favours the first explanation. Some spiritual traditions favour the second. The important point is that consciousness is not fixed. It is fluid. Let's look at a rock as an example. Now, most people laugh when someone says the rock is conscious, but ask another question. How would a rock express consciousness? We've assumed consciousness must involve thinking, language, movement, decision-making. Those are human definitions. What if consciousness exists in forms that never evolved nervous systems? Earth itself regulates temperature, atmospheric chemistry, water cycles, nutrient cycles. Some scientists discuss Earth as a self-regulating system. Spiritually, many indigenous traditions have also regarded Earth as alive, not metaphorically, actually alive, not necessarily thinking like humans, existing, responding, participating, Again, different lens. Now, I'm going to introduce my strongest question. Not AI, not aliens, not God. This question: how do I know anything outside my own consciousness actually exists? This question has haunted philosophy for thousands of years. You cannot prove I exist. You and I cannot prove my dog exists. Neither of us, you or I, cannot even prove Earth exists. I cannot even prove my own memories are accurate. The only thing I cannot doubt is this: something is having an experience. And I studied this at first year university philosophy. This is why the philosopher, he was a French, René Descartes, famously concluded, "I think, therefore I am." Descartes. Sorry, I mispronounced his name. René Descartes. He went through a philosophy trying to prove, and he came up with the very famous "I think, therefore I am." Even if everything were an illusion, Descartes was actually trying to prove the existence of God. And through his argument, he says either it's the devil who is tricking him, and I'm not doing it justice. Look it up. René Descartes, "I think, therefore I am." So, even if everything were an illusion, there still must be an experiencer experiencing the illusion. Now, I'm going to introduce my spiritual beliefs. I often say creator and creation are one. If that were true, then perhaps consciousness isn't individual at all. Perhaps individuality is the illusion. Think of sunlight entering a stained glass window. One white light, thousands of colors. Each color believes it is separate, yet all originate from the same light. When we die, perhaps the color disappears, not because consciousness ended, but because it returns to the white light. Science cannot verify this. Spirituality cannot prove it, but it is one of humanity's oldest intuitions. In closing, perhaps the greatest mystery is not whether consciousness exists. It obviously does. You and I are experiencing something right now. The mystery is why consciousness appears divided. Why do I only experience this life? Why can I never step inside yours? Why does the universe, if it is one, insist on experiencing itself through billions of separate windows? Perhaps separation is real. Perhaps it is temporary. Perhaps consciousness is produced by the brain. Perhaps the brain is simply tuning into something far greater. Perhaps every creature, every tree, every ocean, every planet, and every galaxy possesses forms of awareness beyond our imagination. Or perhaps the limits belong to us. A fish cannot imagine a mountain. A bird cannot imagine sonar. A human may not be capable of imagining every form consciousness can take. Maybe consciousness isn't the final stage of evolution. Maybe it's the beginning of understanding reality. Until next time, keep asking questions, because sometimes the question is more important than the answer. And I just want to give a shout out to my friend Clark, who's undergoing an important medical procedure today. My thoughts and prayers are with you. And I also want to shout out to very loyal people who watch my videos. That's Lorenzo, Sam, and the lovely guy in India who lives with his mother. Hi, thank you, and to everyone else, I appreciate you as well. Thank you for being here. If you're going to drop a comment, please do so with respect. If only the world was more tolerant, less judgmental, what a better world it would be. Remember, it is my belief we are the universe experiencing itself. Every time you hurt or harm another, you're hurting yourself. So with that, be kind to each other, smile at a stranger. You might just save a life. And take care of yourselves, because you matter. Love, light, and blessings. See you tomorrow. Bye.